Welcome to Shrouded Realities Podcast. I'm Joey, Steven, Connor, and Ruby, the podcast dog, bringing you a crazy episode. Please stick with us. We're not crazy, we promise, but maybe. We're going to be talking about the moon landing. Did it happen? Did it not? Studying for a week on all the things. I don't have a clue.
I got even dumber.
A week is not anywhere near long enough to absorb any of this information.
It'll take a lifetime.
Yeah.
And I don't think you get there with more.
No, I don't either. Yeah, my brain is not big enough to even absorb it.
No.
I've just realized that I'm an idiot.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about all the reasons we think we did, all the reasons we think we didn't, and let you decide.
Yeah.
So stick with us. We're not crazy tinfoil hat people, even though we got tinfoil hats on the desk.
That's from a previous episode you should all go listen to.
Yes.
Yeah. So are we turning into tinfoil hat people?
Maybe.
Borderline.
100%. Yeah.
So if we start growing kooky hair and
Smelling bad.
smelling bad, we're
When all we talk about is aliens. That's
Yep.
it.
aliens and spacecrafts, and we didn't go to the moon.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. See,
We can't go to the moon, man. It's not
conspiracy
possible.
theories.
It's not possible according to some.
According to a lot.
According to, I heard like 20% of the population, so 60 million people, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Shoot. Can you put that disclaimer out there real quick?
Yeah, we're idiots.
Yep.
100%.
Yeah, we're idiots.
So I remember when this thought first came into my head, 2000, Fox put out a documentary.
Yep.
Changed my life situation. Like, it just rocks your world. That's what puts you in the conspiracy theory mindset. Says we didn't go to the moon, and they had a lot of compelling evidence that we didn't. But there's a lot of compelling evidence that we did.
Yeah.
So
That's where I've been this whole time with this is
yeah.
I'll listen to somebody that said we did go to the moon and I'm like, yep, okay, we
Yeah.
did. No problem.
And it's like
I'm with it.
It's like a spectrum of people who like maybe we sent unmanned things to the moon.
Yeah.
We sent people to the moon. We didn't send anything to the moon. The moon's not real. It's like a huge spectrum of
Yeah, that's
Not real.
it's not
that-
just a yes or no. It's like there's a spectrum people lay in.
Yeah.
yeah, that's people we did a post on Facebook just to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And man, some of the responses we got, it's blanket conspiracy theory, automatic. Everybody's a conspiracy theorist if you believe we didn't.
Yeah.
Well, not all conspiracy theorists are made equal. Let's just
Yep.
go ahead and say that.
Yeah.
Some of us believe maybe we didn't go to the moon because we don't trust the government. Some of us believe that the moon's not real. Some of us believe that there was some magical force that pulled the moon closer to us and hollowed it out
And the
for some reason.
Anunnaki built it.
Yeah,
and
so I don't-
set it in place.
All conspiracy theorists are not made equal. Let's just go ahead and say
No,
that.
it's easy to do it, but it's not the fact.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So I did learn a lot this week, stuff that I didn't know, stuff that I'd wondered about. But I got to tell you, man, a week of studying, being an idiot, coming into this with, even coming into this, I didn't know. Like, over my life, I've kind of flip flopped. Yeah, we did,
Yeah.
and get some funny remarks out of it. But yeah, I mean, we probably really did. After studying for a week, I still don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I'm more confused now
absolutely.
Yeah.
than I was before.
I think that's how most people are. It's like they want to just leave it how they remember it
Yeah,
and don't want to mess with it.
it's more comforting.
Yeah.
It is.
Ignorance is bliss, I
There's
guess.
there's a level of patriotism attached to it
Yeah.
too,
Mhm.
of just, hey, yeah, no, we won the space race, we ended the Cold War, we did all these things
Yeah.
by doing this.
That's
I mean, people were getting angry at us.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
people were mad.
downright
That
violent.
was
People are
that was
mad.
surprising. The most surprising part about studying any of this, or researching any of this, was how polarizing this is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, who cares if we went to the moon or not? But apparently, everybody cares.
they do.
Like, hardcore.
To me, it doesn't matter one way or the other.
No.
My natural instinct is to say I don't trust the government. That's just my natural
I
instinct.
think that's where this comes from.
and
It stems from that.
if I don't trust the government, then them telling me we went to the moon, I'm gonna have to dig to find out if we did or
Did we
not because
really?
I don't
Yeah.
believe it.
Yeah.
Because it's just this huge thing that like takes so much understanding and knowledge to even get to the point.
Yeah.
And the most people are just not going to get there.
There's a lot of physics and science involved in.
And
Numbers and math.
I know
Yeah.
everybody probably thinks, these guys, physics. We're not it.
No.
That's not us.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
so
only physics I deal with is like sitting on the couch.
That's
it's
right.
just going.
I know
towards
the
couch.
physics of the couch.
Yeah. But yeah, please just stick with us. We're not crazy tinfoil hat people.
We're
but
going to be jumping. It's going to
Yeah.
be.
yeah. So what we're going to try to do is we're gonna list the reasons why we didn't and the reasons why we did. And there's arguments and counter arguments to both sides of every point.
And they both make sense.
And they both make sense. Depends on who you're talking to.
Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah, stick with us. Quick plug, check out our website page, shroudedrealities.com. It's got links to all our stuff. I went and ordered some merch this weekend, so we'll have some merch up soon. Hopefully it won't sell out. Well, hopefully for us it sells out quick, but if it does, we'll order some more. So
Yeah.
keep checking. But yeah, we need some support. This stuff's expensive.
Yeah.
It is.
We've been trying to bankroll this stuff ourselves. We need some help.
Yep.
But yeah, we're getting there. We want to get a good camera and get better equipment for better editing.
And I just want to say, let's just before you even start this, just like tap into your human nature to just question, not like get angry and question things, but just open up your mind just a little bit. Just
there you go.
That's the way to that's the way to address that for sure.
Without anger.
Yeah,
without anger, it's not. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
We can't change.
You're gonna wake up tomorrow and it's just gonna be the same, and that's just how it is.
That's good.
And,
it's a good Zen thought. I like that.
I like that.
I like that a lot.
If you're the dynamite type, go to Christmas and just drop it.
Yeah.
Drop it on G-Paw.
I told him, Jackson, my son, he tried to debate me last night. He thinks we went, which is cool. And he tried to debate me last night. I said, stop. Listen to our podcast first, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I want him to have all the facts.
Have some have a reason that you believe what you believe.
Yeah, all the thoughts, all the evidence both ways, and then we'll go.
That's
from
something
there.
I have noticed too. Is most of the time the people that said we went to the moon or didn't go to the moon, they have no reason as to why they believe what they believe. It's just we did. We did.
I popped a buddy at work. Said, we went around polling everybody. Just hey, what do you believe? Just starting conversation.
Yeah.
He said, oh, we went. Like mad. We went. Duh.
Don't question.
I'm like, don't question. I'm like, okay. And I was like, well, why do you think we did it? Well, there's reflectors on the on the moon that you can shoot a laser at and it bounces back. I'm like, okay, cool. How'd it get there? Well, they put it there on the Apollo missions. Okay, cool. What about the stuff that we've left on Mars that we haven't been to?
Yep.
And then it was just like silence. You can hear them gears of churning, and he just like, we went, and he walked away. It's like,
I wish the same energy people put towards this, they put towards other things in their life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's wild. It's wild. Something stays dormant in your mind, and then someone brings it up. Yeah. Very MK Ultra, if you ask me. Yeah. And it just triggers something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it is wild. Well, where do we want to start? What's the first one? There's a ton of them. Where do we want to go first?
You want to knock out all the silly ones first, the silly Billy ones.
You got
of we didn't go, but makes sense that we did. Kind of like just.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, well, the biggest one is is a government cover up. Like how many people are directly involved? People that I've known personally in my life that were directly involved in
making
the Apollo
stuff.
mission that would have had to have either been paid off, threatened, or just completely oblivious.
Depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
So if you ask a guy that says we didn't go to the moon, he says it would be less than 100.
Yeah. Because everything's compartmentalized.
Yeah. Everything's in its own little segment.
Yeah.
I mean, not everybody's separated out. But if you look at it from we did go to the moon side, it would be hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, I think I heard 400,000 people was involved in Apollo.
Be involved in some kind of way.
Yeah, but of those 400,000 people,
how many are tapped into very close
like
to
every one of them, except for a select few, are probably very compartmentalized. Like they're building this one thing for the rocket.
Exactly.
They don't know that it's going to the moon.
They don't know that.
They're just told that it was going to the moon.
There's a pride that they said, well, look, I built this one thing that goes to the moon. But they don't know that we did or didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it depends on who you ask.
And all the stuff they were building is like, we know works, like rockets work. We can really watch rockets go up,
Yeah.
So all that stuff works.
Go into orbit.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Yeah. Rockets are not a theory.
Debate.
Rockets are real. Yeah. We're not that kind of crazy where we're going like, I don't think rockets are real.
Yeah. The firmament's keeping them down.
Yeah. You can go to the Cape and watch it leave the Earth and disappear.
Yeah. We're just talking about from orbit to the moon. That's like the main contention.
Yeah.
That's the big gap. Yeah. We do put stuff into orbit. The question is, did it make it through the Van Allen radiation belt?
Yeah.
And make it to the surface?
Yeah. And then people walked on it.
And people walked.
I think.
And came back.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's very possible that we've sent things to the moon. Yeah. No doubt. I think that is something that's happened.
Yeah.
Humans.
Maybe.
That's where I go, a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the big three that I kept hearing was the video footage of the flag waving.
Yep.
That everybody says if it's a vacuum, it shouldn't wave.
Okay.
Let's go there. So
Yeah.
They plant the flag. They said salute the flag, America.
Yeah.
Awesome. But when they're setting it up, it's kind of moving. I'm on the side of that's probably some. That's a stretch because if you've got
that's easily
so
explainable.
it's a L-shaped pole, the flag's dangling from it. You move the pole, the top of the flag moves. Well, the bottom's got a trail. It's not gonna like instantly just like, and it's not because of wind resistance. It's just how things work.
Because
Just
were
when
they
you
hitting
move things.
it into the ground?
Yeah, it was kind of moving.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, but there was part of the video. One of the part that made me go was when the flag was planted on a video. Nobody's around it. One of the astronaut walks by it.
Yeah.
Didn't touch it, and then it waved on its own. So
Which
if
is
it's in a
weird.
vacuum,
If it's
then
in a
I'm like,
vacuum, that's weird because you're not pushing wind resistance as a person at that
Right.
point on the moon.
yeah,
So the argument is that this was in a movie set.
Yep.
It was really hot because all of the can lights, so they turned the air conditioner on. Also,
maybe
that's just not a good argument to me.
Yeah.
Like, without proof that you're standing on a movie set,
Yeah.
that's just a stretch to
This
me.
is this
Either
isn't
way.
this isn't Bear in the Big Blue House.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
They're not kicking that AC on to 68.
Yeah. So number 2 of the big 3 that I've heard was there was no crater.
Yeah.
You know, we've all seen the picture of the lunar lander.
the
This,
video of that lunar lander.
yeah. So I took that video. Anyway, that's part of it.
Yeah,
I mean, but like you see the lunar lander, even after they get away from it,
Yeah.
and they could have set up a camera. The ground underneath it looks exactly the same as the ground around it.
Yeah.
You would think if you're landing something that heavy with rockets to keep it from just crashing into it,
Because
that
isn't this just dust, really?
yeah.
I mean, like the moon is mainly just dust.
Yeah, to the
So-
point that you can step into it with a boot and leave a really impressionable footprint that looks a couple inches deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would think if it was that soft and that dusty,
They probably raked it before they left.
you think
Yeah.
Yeah, they raked it
They
up.
just
Like
put
the
maybe-
Quakers come out and was like, I'm gonna help.
Yeah, remember the Quakers?
Doing their little heel clicks.
A little throwback to Mormon there a little bit. I like it.
Yeah, leave no trace, like you do in the woods when you go on a hike.
I
Maybe
wonder
they just-
also, like, what's the footprint of it? Is it just a flat piece that it lands on?
the lander.
Mhm.
No, it was like 4 pads.
Four
Okay.
legs.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it was like
Had
shock
like
absorber.
outriggers
And
on
also,
it.
like, when they were landing, was did they have boosters or whatever to like? It was so slow it didn't leave an impact. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's the
The weight of it still.
You think
there
it would have
should be.
sunk?
I
You think
mean,
it would
if
have
a
sunk
man,
down?
if a man's footprint's doing it, a
Mhm.
lunar lander is going to leave something.
Yeah.
And I wonder if like the area too. I mean, the area matters of the imprint.
Yeah, it looked to me, not knowing the measurements, but it looked about the size of a tire, maybe a small tire.
Yeah, because I mean, you spread that weight out. I mean, I don't know what the like the pound per square inch on that
Right.
is compared to Earth, like
If it
stepping
would've-
in dirt or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, I could see that not leaving an imprint, depending on the size of the pad, how slowly they touch the moon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So-
Those are all factors. I would say.
Yeah.
Sure.
And to me, I don't know how this thing works, but I would imagine there's a rocket or something underneath it
Yeah.
that would
like a propulsion going the other
Well,
way. to-
right.
The
to
thing
slow it
is there's no imprint of like burnt
Mm.
anything from where it's taken off or landing.
Mm-hmm.
There's got to be something to help land it. And there's not like a burnt area on the moon where you see, okay, this is where he landed. You would think that there was a burnt spot.
Yeah. So
from where that was.
NASA's answer was it shut off the boosters before it got that close,
Okay.
which is one of those things that's like,
Well, I did
don't
hear
know.
that they were, talking about how much fuel they had left, and they were, down to 20 seconds worth of fuel left.
yeah.
And it was.
Oh, yeah, I did hear
Yeah,
that.
you better figure it out now because you
Yeah.
got 20 seconds.
Was it Buzz or Neil that was driving it? and he-
I don't know.
One of them was like monitoring the statistics, and he was like trying not to shake him because he's learning how to fly this thing on the fly, literally.
Oh my!
So he was like, he didn't want to say, "You better get us down. We're about to run out."
Didn't he wreck this 3 out of the 5 times he tried it on Earth?
Oh, yeah,
So then he's got like one shot to get it right on the moon
with different,
Like Eminem made a song
Gravity.
for this.
with no atmosphere.
Lose yourself.
Oh yeah,
Can you imagine them throwing on lose yourself?
that would be great. Yeah,
Jeez, so
but
yeah. So what was the third one? So you got the flag, the crater, and
Shadows.
then that's one of the evidence that we didn't. That's one of the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
But I was getting at the radiation belt was one.
yeah,
That's the big, like the big
Yeah.
barrier to our atmosphere that says you can't get through it unless you get toasted
that one
in
seems
the
the most
microwave.
plausible to me out of all of them.
I'll say that I was on the other end.
Which way are you coming from? That it was that's evidence that we did, or evidence that we didn't?
One of the pieces of evidence that I just don't know about.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
how does the layperson verify
Right.
that there's a magic barrier of X-rays circling the Earth? I know they threw up a test on rockets to see what Geiger counter.
Yeah.
To measure
Warner
the
von
rad to
Braun
see.
did that.
Yeah.
And
I learned some stuff about
looked
him,
up-
by the way.
Yeah, I did too. That'll have to be an episode.
Yeah.
And it's like when you look up the Van Allen, it's like you can find information that goes either way,
yeah.
which makes it hard.
It does.
It does make it difficult. But von Braun, so I looked it up on NASA's website, and it says he sent a Geiger counter attached to a tape recorder on a satellite. This registered radiation levels that were thousands of times higher than expected.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And this is from where?
Warner von Braun.
Or
Yeah.
no,
Quote.
this.
this is from Google underline
Okay.
NASA's website.
Gotcha.
Talking
Yeah.
about it. So it's
So
thousands
NASA,
of
So NASA said von Braun said that
it was
the
a lot.
radiation
It busted
was
the Geiger counter.
so the radiation was so high it was immeasurable.
It did it, and just to be honest, it says after that. However, when the instrument moved over 900 miles above the Earth's surface, the radiation count stopped. So
So there was a limit.
there was a limit. Once
Mhm.
you pass that barrier,
You're good.
you're good. Now, once you get to the moon, the dust is radiated. Everything's radiated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because there's nothing protecting the moon from
there's
the sun's rays.
there's no atmosphere.
There's
all.
no magnetic field
Yeah.
like we have on Earth to deflect rays like that.
So does NASA refute that? Do they say, "Oh, he was wrong," or what's the
Well, now they even say that that's their issue with going back right now is radiation levels and want to make sure everybody's safe and all that.
so the radiation stopped in 1969 to 72?
Yeah, it just
And this is the information.
That's only logical
Let me
explanation.
crack into what I studied about the Van Allen belt because that was one of the main things I was looking into.
Okay.
So the Van Allen belt is very dynamic as the way it is. It changes depending on what's coming at it.
Yeah.
Like what is it? All of the molecules it's interacting with can change how big certain parts of the belts are, how small parts of the belts are.
Okay.
If there's a space in between, sometimes it's one whole belt, and
Yeah.
sometimes it's two belts, depending, and then vary in size from there. And so in doing this research, it made me more comfortable in the fact that they did get past it, kind of,
Okay.
depending on, but everything would have to be on point.
Yeah.
So the way it is at the North and South Pole, there is the belt is basically non-existent there.
Okay.
So
So
it would have made more sense for them to launch from one of those two places because they can go right past it.
Okay.
But they didn't. They went from Florida right
they
in the
went
middle.
from Florida. Yeah.
Right in the middle, which probably would have been the most, I don't know if dense is the right word, but
Yeah,
probably would have been where the biggest part of the belt is.
I got you.
But researching the belt, it said that the temperature of the Van Allen belt was between 2,000 and 20,000 Kelvin. Well, I just looked at the minimum,
Yeah.
and that's like 3,600 degrees. And their
Nice.
spacecraft was like mostly aluminum, I believe,
Yeah.
which melts at 1,200 degrees. So, I mean, this could be all jibber jabber.
And this is thin aluminum
Yeah.
too. This wasn't like
At the thinnest, the spacecraft had parts that were only like just a smidge above 1/8 inch thick, so you could poke a pencil through it.
What?
Yeah, but they said they had like dipped the aluminum in some kind of protectant and like reinforced everything. Which working with aluminum, that doesn't mean anything.
It was a specialized coating we put on it.
You get a big person step on a piece of welded aluminum, it's just gonna break,
especially an 1/8 inch thick.
Yeah. So I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it is. I wonder if it, depending on the season of the Van Allen belt, you may have got through it.
Yeah. Or blasted through it quickly.
Quickly, yeah.
You know, where you're not just hanging out in the gazillion degree zone.
In the radiation aspect of it, I kind of understand why they weren't affected based on the because some of the radiation was not as strong. Like if you're not directly exposed to it, you're gonna be fine. Okay. Because certain rays can only penetrate to you, so that's why like they weren't exposed to so much radiation.
Okay. So you got the ship itself protecting them. Mm-hmm. Did they have clothing on? Like, you know, we put on the vest when you go get an X-ray.
I mean, yeah, they did. Internally, I'm sure they did, but I don't know if it was meant specifically for radiation at all at that point. I know when they were on the moon, supposedly that suit was.
Okay. So the deniers, we'll call them the moon landing deniers, say that the belt would be the contributing factor to
Goliath.
Yeah.
To counteract that, because if you can find we did, you can definitely find we didn't.
Right.
Dr. Ellen Stofan, everybody knows her.
Yeah.
Chief scientist of NASA and principal advisor. She was talking about going to Mars, but she said, we're trying to develop the technologies to get there. It's actually a huge technological challenge.
Now, when was this?
2014. She said, there are a couple of big issues. For one thing, radiation. Once you get outside of Earth's magnetic field, we're going to be exposing the astronauts to not just radiation coming from the sun, but also to cosmic radiation. That's a higher dose than we think humans right now should really get. That was in 2014. Mm-hmm. So how's that work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If in 2014 we're like, it's probably,
right. And she's not saying what we're getting through the belt. We're getting outside the belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's her. That's to me from NASA. I mean, that's the chief scientist.
Yeah.
So,
wow.
Where does that
Is
fall?
this lady still alive?
I don't know.
she's on a list somewhere.
She get thrown off one of those rocket deals. Yeah. You know, she's looking at a rocket and just falls 500 feet.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Barack Obama in 2010, he said the hazardous radiation environment for humans traveling beyond Earth. His quote, "How do we shield astronauts from radiation on longer missions?" I mean,
I wonder what they consider longer missions, because the Apollo mission was what, 4.5 days?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now, the big talk is trying to get back to Mars, which was, I think, like a year or two, wasn't it? It was going to be a long, long trip.
Yeah, it would take some time.
That's why I say, like, we need to just go back to the moon just to make sure we can still.
Yeah, I would feel 100% better if we did.
Why have we not?
Yeah.
Okay, so I watched one last night, documentary last night, answering that question specifically. He spent about 30 minutes making really good points, but every one of them, I was just going, man, I don't know. So one of the points is that we're having to relearn what we
right.
Yeah, we had to relearn.
Like we don't have millions of documents about it.
Well, funny you should say that. How in the HE double hacky six, pardon my language, does NASA lose all the original footage in 2003?
I wouldn't worry about that. It was probably an accident.
Original footage of what?
There is no original film footage of any of the Apollo missions.
Got some copies, though.
They disappeared.
Just on accident.
NASA says they taped over them like it's your child's dance recital that you recorded the World Series over.
This is like historic documents of the final frontier.
The greatest achievement in human history.
And Nixon straight up said, "This is the best thing that's happened since the creation of the Earth."
And they lose it.
I mean, this is either the greatest fumble or
somebody's... my hair's standing up right now. I'm looking like a crazy person. To me, this is
why we should run into a Capitol building right here. Yeah. Not because of who's president, but because they lost this footage.
Yeah.
I mean, Yeah, that makes no sense at all. Somebody was like, oh, man, the World Series is on tonight.
And look, this is like a VHS tape. This is one of those big reels.
Yeah.
The boy says, moon landing. Oh, we're going to tape over this.
The World Series is coming up. I don't want to miss it.
How do you do it? How does that happen?
So we're going back to our Trump talk.
Yep.
It's one of three things.
Mm-hmm.
Gross incompetence.
Yep.
I'm sorry if I'm screaming. I'm sure you're probably going to have to edit this a little bit.
I've already turned you down. You're good.
Just throw some beeps in there just for fun.
Gross incompetence.
I could, yeah.
Or a cover-up.
Yep.
Or a combination of both.
So I do think it's interesting. Like, if there's ever an investigation on anything political at all, what always happens? It got deleted. Dadgummit.
That's what they said.
Yeah. Well, that's with anything.
Yeah.
You start digging into, what was it, Hillary Clinton's emails. Dadgummit. I said
hit the wrong button.
I said it too close to a magnet. It was on. I didn't mean to. My entire wall is just one big magnet. It was an accident.
I'm going to say it again. The greatest achievement in human history.
Yeah, they probably just,
oops.
Yeah, oops.
Get out of here.
Come on.
The Yankees were playing. I had to record it.
That's
Get
right.
out of here.
That was a great World Series. I needed it.
I got to bring it back to reality here. Because good night. But
So I've got another reason as to why we didn't.
okay.
One, so I typed a whole bunch of stuff as to why they said we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Cost. That's
Yeah,
one reason.
yeah, that was a big. Yeah.
When has the U.S. government given two flying flips about how much something costs?
Right, and it really wasn't even that much money.
I mean, it's
comparatively speaking.
Yeah,
How much money have we given Ukraine?
Yeah.
A lot more than this.
yeah. They said the percentage of, I guess the percentage of the budget, even in 1960s when they were building up to this, was like 5%.
Yeah. Do you
So
know?
the government took 5% of their budget and put it towards getting to the moon.
So we're talking about unexplained or unexplored sections of the world that we can touch.
Yeah.
And we're not worried about it.
Yeah.
We don't even want to research it. We don't even care.
Yeah.
But we're going to look up we'll give millions of dollars to Harvard to research why pigs like slop.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll do crap like that.
Yeah.
But we're talking about an entire other world that we can physically touch because we've done it.
That could be useful.
Could be useful.
We could
don't
colonize
know.
it.
There could be medicine up there, something that we could turn into. I mean, we don't know because
It could be an alternative to lithium. You never know. Some kind of energy source that
there
we
could
use.
be something there that we could do, but it costs too much.
Or
our priorities. We're not focused on the moon.
Yeah.
The moon. We
We've
don't
already
care
been
about the moon.
Been there.
We're
done
gonna
that.
been there, done that. Barack Obama actually said that.
Yeah.
you sorry sucker.
But he also said that we were going to go back.
He did, and so has every other president.
This is my opinion, but with the turmoil the world is in right now, I think going to the moon would be an absolute win.
Absolutely.
I think it would,
Huge.
especially if you include countries around the world,
Especially
and send
with
more people.
Yeah, why haven't we not partnered with all the space agencies? We do it with the International Space Station.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why not?
Can you
the
imagine
moon?
several countries on the world just like taking a group
pitching
photo?
in? Yeah.
Hey.
Like that would be so. I would get that
Yes.
tattooed on me. That
Heck
is
yeah.
insane.
Have you seen the videos of the space station? By the way,
The one that people are stuck on right now.
there's a few,
Yeah.
but like where the guy like vanishes behind a green screen, or you can
Are
see
you saying that that's fake now?
where they've got the wire, and it's completely seen.
No
like
way.
a guy, he's like leaning a little bit, and he grabs the wire and straightens himself out.
So
and
this
you
is
can see
happening
it.
right now?
Oh yeah, in front of people. It's so obvious what they're doing with that. It is horrible.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's bad.
I didn't even catch it.
Yeah.
What I may do is I may throw some of that on our Facebook just for people to see it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think that would be beneficial for everybody.
Try to
and-
get our Facebook shut down quick.
Oh
ain't
yeah,
you?
it'll be fast, but it's okay.
We need to keep it as legit as possible. We can't put super fake stuff out. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, this is not.
This is straight from them.
This is legit.
Okay.
Like it's ridiculous
Okay.
what people are
Yeah.
showing.
Which
I want to go back to the money thing. What was like 260 billion? That was the number.
Yeah,
inflated
260.
for today's price.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
what it would cost.
Which that's like we bring in what 30, what's our GDP like 20 trillion?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think
A
we're
year.
like 30 trillion in debt. So
Right.
What's 260 billion? That's like
Right.
$20 to
That's
us.
like a
Like that's an afternoon in Congress right
Yeah.
there. What
Yeah.
is that?
exactly $260 billion dollars.
If I could choose for my tax dollars to either go to endless wars or to the moon, you can bet
100%.
every
Let's go to
dollar.
the daggone moon.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even concerned about the money anymore. No. Like, it's useless. It's worthless now. Let's just do something. Yeah. Let's just do something.
Well, yeah, let's at least get a big hurrah out of it. Yeah,
I mean, that'd be an absolute thrasher of a party. Throw that on 4K TV and just get absolutely hammered.
So this is the one that I was kind of saving for the reason that they said we can't go back to the moon a little bit.
Yep.
Lack of experience. The moon...
Come again?
Yep, that's what it says.
Experience for who?
This is we went 6-7 times before?
Yeah, but we don't have the experience to do it today. Engineers and companies in the 21st century have little to no experience with moon missions. That's from NASA. They say, you know what? Our experience just ain't too good.
Our math just doesn't make sense once we pass the radiation belt.
Yeah,
once we leave Earth's atmosphere, nothing makes sense anymore. So we just don't even think about it.
So we went when our cars were run on carburetors.
Yep.
Our radios were run with transistor tubes.
Exactly.
A computer fit inside a giant closet.
No, not a closet.
A room.
A server room.
Yeah, like a room.
Like this size.
The size of a house.
And it could barely do math and play the game Snakes.
Yeah. No, it was just Pong at that point. You had two lines and a dot.
And even then it was probably crashing.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was too much.
But we don't have the experience.
It would be tough, man. We couldn't do that.
Dude, you give some 8-year-old in China the ability to go to the moon, he's going. He's going to get there.
Well, and the other thing, in 1972, I think it was when we come back from, Apollo, which one? 13 maybe? 14? Something like that.
Yeah.
We destroyed all of that. We just said, yeah, we're going to destroy all of that stuff. We don't need it anymore. We just discard it. No, like the rockets and all of that kind of stuff. We just discarded that.
That's worse than murder.
Yeah, I mean, so all the things that you're seeing at like the Space and Rocket Center and stuff like that, that's replica stuff. That's not real stuff. No. We actually had some confirmation from some people about that.
Yeah, I talked
in our personal lives.
Yeah, I talked to somebody that used to work there, and she's even a denier. She's like, I see the stuff that they say we used, and I was like, there's no way. Like just looking at it. Like,
and this is a down-to-earth human being. Yeah. Let's back up. This is not some...
This is not your sweaty uncle.
This person also, smartly, I might add, because we're not being real smart by putting this out to the world. About it.
Yeah.
She didn't want to even vote on our poll because she was afraid of how she would be perceived.
Yeah. And I wonder how much of that is set up through mind control. Yeah. Like, if you question the status quo,
Yeah.
Like, if you question that, your dissent.
I'm not going to lie. The first time I saw somebody call me a conspiracy theorist, it took me back a minute. Yeah. I went, ooh, do I want that to be my public image?
It almost makes you want to, like, fit in with everybody else.
It does.
Not question anything.
It's almost like man, I don't want to be that guy.
It's almost like in the Bible, like having leprosy,
Why,
that's what it feels like.
Yep.
Why would I think that way? Because there is such a stigma, and it's a blanket statement.
Yep.
It's a 100% blanket statement.
If you think we didn't go, you're loony toony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
If you don't if you question anything ever,
then
you're not normal.
So that I think that's the mission statement of this show.
Yeah.
Every topic we're bringing up is going to be things that you need to think about on your own.
Yeah. In a healthy manner.
In a healthy manner.
To not go into a spiral in an echo chamber.
Look at both sides.
Healthy.
Look at both sides.
Yeah.
Every subject I've researched so far, I would look at pro whatever we're talking about.
Yeah.
Negative whatever we're talking about, and then sometime right in the middle if you can find it.
Mm-hmm.
So
the problem is it lives on both extremes most of the time.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's always an extreme to one side or the other.
There's no happy medium.
There's no happy medium to any of that.
It's
and
polarizing.
that's kind of where I want to live. I want to live in the happy medium and just think about it.
Because 99% of the stuff just will not affect you.
Yeah.
It won't.
That's why I'm still on the fence on this.
Yeah.
So
like even now, why in the crap did they lose the tapes? Like even with all of that, I'm still like, I think we did. My grandpa
I do too.
worked where they did this stuff. Like I want to believe it.
Mm-hmm. I said I do too. I don't know that I'm 100% in the camp of we did.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also not in 100% of the camp of we didn't.
No.
I'm falling in the middle because I'm not smart enough to know either way.
Yeah.
But there are some things that just don't make sense. Why did we discard all of it? Yeah. Why did we? And then they said we can't rebuild it because factories were reassigned or closed. What?
Yeah.
Get another factory.
Or the knowledge retired.
The knowledge retired. Jigs were disassembled.
Yeah.
Molds were destroyed. We can't remake it because the mold was destroyed.
Yeah.
What?
So I want to
This is the U.S.
I want to
went
get
to the moon.
a little bit of something else I looked up that kind of put me in the boat of we did go, but we had to fake the footage and everything, just because.
That's something we need to talk about too.
Yeah.
That maybe we went, but we had to fake the footage of it.
Yeah. Rogan flipped that way.
Yeah.
Rogan flipped that way.
So let's say that, you know what, we went to the moon, we did everything. I think maybe at most we were able to save audio.
Yeah.
At the very most, because I don't know how frequencies work through the Van Allen belt.
Yeah.
I didn't look that up. I should have, but I don't know how that would work if it like can distort it and just not make it Earth. You know what I mean?
So just to clear it up, you're saying that we did go, but the ability to film it successfully, especially in that time, wasn't possible.
It was all film.
So we had to fake the filming for public image. And
correct. Because they couldn't.
I think today you would even struggle with getting a film of it because radiation is going to destroy most of anything.
Yeah, and even if you protect it, it's like it just takes just a little bit.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of light, a little bit of something, and it's just destroyed.
Yeah.
So I think
which is to me that is probably the most plausible explanation to all of this.
Yeah, I do too.
Like, get past the radiation belt thing. Maybe we did make it, but it was hard to film, so we had to fake the film. So everything that we see is that we say, "Man, this looks a little sketchy." It's because it really is, but we had to prove that we did go.
Because you can't just spend all this money, put all the people to work, and then be like, "Yeah, we went, but we don't have any footage."
Yeah, trust us, we went.
That wouldn't fly very well.
Right.
So I think in 1969 they had the ability to create a fake scene, and do all that and make it believable. So which doesn't make me feel any better, but it would make more sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So we were watching a video a little bit ago of the cameras that they had on their chests.
Yep.
So one of the guys I was listening to, he was definitely on the We Didn't Go train, but he was talking about how cameras used to operate in those days is you needed to be looking down the camera to see if you were in focus at all. You didn't just have like a smartphone back then where you could just, yeah, that's probably good.
Yeah.
I mean,
tap the screen and it
I mean,
focuses
think right now, if you even shake your hand a little bit when you're taking a picture with your phone, it's going to come out blurry.
Yeah.
All of the pictures that we have,
crystal clear.
Looks like it was done in a studio. I mean, it was studio quality pictures that were done. There was over 5,000 pictures made over a 4-day period of time. He broke down the math of that. He said that you would need to be taking, I can't remember, a picture every 15 seconds to be able to amass that amount of picture.
And how many people were actually on the moon? Was it only 2?
2 touched it. Wasn't there another guy on the Apollo mission?
Well, there's multiple missions, so multiple people
Apollo
did.
11 missions,
11
what I'm saying.
was the main one, yeah.
Yeah, was there not somebody else with them that stayed inside the ship?
Yeah, there was 3 people, Buzz and Armstrong. They're the ones that went on the lunar lander, but there was another ship that orbited the moon while they were on the moon.
Right.
So he stayed back in the moon. They said he was the first person to get what was he was the most disconnected from human existence since Adam, like the most lonely. I can't remember. I'm trying to remember the phrase they used.
He was orbiting the moon for like 12 days.
Yeah, so there was.
Can you imagine being locked inside of a capsule for 12 days by yourself?
And then half of that you're completely dark to any
and you can't
communication.
really move in this thing either. So for 12 days, think about when you get on an airplane and you're in economy, you have 0 leg room. It's a 3 or 4 hour flight. Dude, your legs are toast. You are just antsy, ready to kick through the seat.
Your sciatica
imagine
is just flaming.
Imagine 12 days of just locked up.
And
Can't
then
do anything.
half of that trip,
in the dark.
pitch dark, can't talk to anybody because you can't communicate with anyone.
How do you not come back
There's
insane?
There's just a thing and it's just going beep,
Yeah.
beep.
Sounds like torture.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe he did come back insane. You earlier in the week, me and Connor talked about this. There was a press conference with all three of them, and this was one of the things that the deniers point to and say, "See, they're acting really weird. I would be more excited." But the
experience,
just the presence of them talking was super monotone. They looked like they was talking about their dog that just got run over. They just looked scared to me.
Yeah,
but like Connor,
I would be terrified.
Like Connor said earlier when we talked about it, it's like, what kind of mental effect does that have that you survived that experience?
Like that's something no one else will experience for right now.
Right.
It's
So
like
we can't say I would act that way because we
like
know.
what is that? What is that reaction in your brain when you turn around and you look at Earth from hundreds of thousands of miles away? That's got to do something.
Shocking.
That's got to do something to your brain.
You know, we've all had the the thought in our head of how small we are as people and all that kind of stuff. Imagine the thought when you're on the moon and you're looking at the Earth and you're just like,
what even goes through your mind?
Yeah. What am I doing here?
Like you're threatened with immediate death, like that. Like you could die any second. Yeah. Something just busts.
A little particle comes flying through space and just rips right
which
through the
supposedly is very possible.
And you won't even have a formal funeral. You will just float off, and you're done. That's it.
Oh yeah, there's no way to have a formal funeral. You just
you
just space mist at that time.
Yeah, exactly. But so where was it? Apollo 1. Y'all did any digging into Apollo 1 stuff?
You talking about the CIA cover-up?
Yep.
Possibly. Conspiracy theory? Yeah.
That is a conspiracy theory. That is some people's opinion. I don't know. I wasn't there.
Yeah, so
can't make an informed decision one way or the other.
So one of the astronauts wasn't liking what was going on, so he hung a lemon on the what do you call it? The space? What is
the
it?
rocket or
the rocket?
No, not the rocket.
The shuttle or
the thing they were in. Anyway,
cab.
Sure.
We'll just say the cab.
God, we're such idiots. We tried to convince them.
It was the stuff on the inside of it. It was that thing that was on the inside of that one thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Beep boop in it.
So it was like the cab of the rocket anyway, where they hang out. So
yeah, it was Grissom, and supposedly he was going to go out and tell the media, you know, this is not going to work. This is a bad idea. This thing's a lemon. Look at what this thing's made out of. It's coat hangers and aluminum foil. I'm out. I'm not doing it.
So the CIA shows up
the day before. What business they got there?
Yeah. So the CIA comes to inspect what's going on. And what in the world are they doing here? Then the next day they all burn up in a fire.
Well, they changed the way the door hatched. The door opened from the inside then, or to the inside, instead of from the outside. And then there's bolts run into it. So they're trapped. They're trapped. There's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
So then
pump it full of 100% oxygen,
which is everybody knows is a no-no. Yeah. Like that's the most flammable thing ever.
Yeah.
And then
you sneeze and catch stuff on fire.
Yeah. And then they're like, all right, let's do a test. And then as soon as they start testing, something sparks. The whole thing flash fire, dead.
Everybody did.
Yeah.
Instantly.
They made it real pretty.
Yeah. So the deniers say that's
he was murdered.
That was CIA.
Supposedly the widow of Grissom.
Whistle blow.
Supposedly the widow of Grissom said that's what she believes happened. Granted, I mean she doesn't know.
I mean she just went through losing her husband, so it's like anything she says.
Well, he supposedly told her, he was like, "This is kind of weird." CIA was here.
He's the one that told him that they showed up. To check things out.
So then, of course, her brain is going to be turned
immediate to
what the
Okay.
Especially with what's going on in the 1960s.
Plus that,
you know, the government's so concerned with cost, though. So I don't think that they would have just set it on fire, because that's $260 billion in today's money. So why would they? That doesn't make sense.
Right.
They wouldn't do that. We can't even go back because of how expensive it is.
Yeah. So let's talk about the guys that are the most. Besides us now, apparently, but the guys that say that we didn't go to the moon, the most
on the extreme
vocal, So I mentioned it in the opening in 2000. Fox put out a documentary. It seems to be right when all this kind of talk kind of kicked off.
Well, here before we start, when was the first somebody saying that we didn't go? Was it when did that start?
When it really become popularized was not far after it happened.
Yeah, 1974. A guy wrote a book.
Gotcha. And there was, even in a James Bond movie, they drive through the set of the moon and all that kind of stuff as a joke. Yeah. But that got everybody look, see,
Yeah.
it was totally fake.
Right, because
So-
I want to make sure like this hasn't been a recent thing. Like
Yeah,
it's
Bill-
been going on since.
No, this has been going on pretty much since it happened.
Yeah, so Bill Casings in 1974 wrote the first We Didn't Go book.
Was that a funny thing happened on the way to the moon?
Nope,
That
that
was
was,
Bart
Was
Bell.
was
yeah,
that Bert?
2001. That was
Bart,
Bart
whatever?
Simmeril.
That dude's nuts.
He's a kook, man. He brings up some really good points, but he's a kook.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
most of his points, I'm like, dude, stop.
Yeah,
He is the worst representative for we didn't go to the moon I've seen.
Yeah.
yeah. He went into the CIA's following me. I've been kidnapped.
Yeah.
They're trying to silence me,
They
but they
drugged
haven't
me.
killed him yet.
They drugged me
So,
and then stole my urine.
yeah,
To me, his opinions were the easiest to debunk
Yeah.
out of all of them.
So
I didn't like his
2001.
So
stuff.
does that make him controlled op?
yeah.
I've
2001.
kinda
He did a
wondered.
documentary. What the funny thing that you mentioned? Funny
Yeah.
thing that happened on the way to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, he's built a career, literally built a
Yeah,
career
right.
Yeah.
on being that guy.
So you
which,
got to keep it up.
he's not going to be convinced otherwise of anything because that's how he makes his money.
Yeah.
Which that's to me, whenever I'm sniffing out BS, if there's somebody getting financially compensated for an opinion,
And
Yeah.
you have to
you're
throw a
going to
question
be
on it.
be swayed. Yeah,
And you're
So,
gonna go in full bore
yeah.
regardless.
Yeah, I
you're
checked
not
out
going to be swayed to the other direction because this is how I make my dollars.
Yeah, I checked out this guy's website, and you can buy a subscription to get 30 minutes of time with him
Mhm.
once a month,
Man,
For him to just scream
just
at you.
just to talk about this goofy stuff that we're talking about now.
we should have done that.
What's that?
Just
Check them out.
for 30
I
minutes.
kind of thought about it.
Just
That
do it
would've
for the
been-
pod.
Yeah, do it for the podcast. Just be like, all right, let's hear what you got to say.
I'm gonna put a pin in that. We may circle back to that.
That would be
Again, we're
great.
broke.
Yeah.
We can't afford $50
Buy
to
a
talk to this
shirt.
guy, but
Buy a shirt, please.
please, yeah, yeah. Hit up our merch when we get it up. We're so poor we can't even get the merch up right now.
Yeah,
Maybe one day.
Hopes and dreams.
Hopes and dreams, but yeah. So whenever, he's the complete kook. But 2000, Fox put out the thing. 2001, he put out his thing.
Well, didn't
So-
Fox take it down?
They did have to take it
Yeah.
down, which is another thing that
because
makes you
people
go,
were harassing the astronauts like Bart.
yeah.
He walked up to Buzz Aldrin and told him to swear on the Bible that he landed on the moon. And then eventually Buzz just got
Yeah.
pissed off and
Yeah.
punched him in the face.
I mean, I would say that's pretty fair.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what? I give Buzz Aldrin
High five.
kudos.
Yeah.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah, he was. I seen the video. He was harassing him pretty hardcore.
Yeah.
and Buzz just right crossed him, and I was like, "Yeah, cool.
And
He
the
deserves
first-
that."
The first thing he said, which blew, I was like, come on, man. You had an opportunity here.
That's
the first thing he said was, did you get that on camera?
See, he was looking
It's
for a payday.
dollars.
Yeah.
That to me screams I'm trying to make money off of this.
Mhm.
He could have turned and said, I think this is pretty good evidence, guys, that he actually didn't go to the moon if he's not willing to have a conversation with me.
Yeah.
Granted, come to him with a Bible and be like, swear on the Bible
Yeah.
that you did.
As he's
Come
getting
on.
out of a car, going into a building.
Yeah, that's
Like,
ridiculous.
The wrong time.
Nobody, I don't care what you believe, nobody go do stupid crap like that.
No.
If you want to believe something, that's great. You can discuss it with people. That's fantastic. Don't go up to somebody and harass them, though.
And that's
ridiculous.
that's where the
It just makes your ideology. Or
It
your
makes you
thought
look like a kook.
bad.
Yeah.
You look like a kook,
Yeah.
100%.
yeah. So just sit down, talk about it, think about it, look at
Mhm.
both sides. I like the way Rogan did it. I listened to
I
his
did too.
his
That was a-
podcast
that was a
with
good
Bart
one.
Simmeril, and Rogan. He's been known to be one of the kind of out there thought guys. So you would think that he would think we didn't go. But
Well-
he played the other side every time Bart would
Yeah.
say, "Here's why we didn't go to the moon." That's kind of how he sounds too.
Yeah,
Wait, this is how we didn't go to the moon.
CIA.
The CIA is chasing me in my van. Rogan would go, all right, well, hang on.
Yeah.
So the flag wave, he would
Yeah.
counter every single thing. he
About
would
halfway
say.
through that, I think the Bard guy, he was getting real mad. I
Yeah,
think.
he
he
was
was getting
getting
real.
frustrated.
He was
Yeah.
getting very frustrated.
Which
thought
is
he-
not. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, just be open.
Yeah, be like,
Yeah.
hey, maybe you're right.
Mm-hmm.
But
There was not one point that Joe Rogan made that Bart was willing to
except
Compromise or
accept to him.
anything.
No,
Yeah.
there was no compromise at all.
No.
There was never a, well, okay,
I could see
yeah,
how
that
that
does
works.
make sense.
No, the CIA killed this guy.
yeah,
You-
they're
if-
lying.
If you truly believe something, the way to have a conversation with somebody can completely change how that goes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you want to convince somebody of something, don't come in bullheaded. I'm right and you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're not going to get anywhere with that.
Yeah, so it's guys like that that make the we didn't go conversation difficult.
My theory on that is that maybe this guy is set up to be that way. Maybe we need somebody to look a little kooky, because if you look kooky, then you can say, well, this guy's a conspiracy theorist. And then guess what? Me and you are conspiracy theorists for even having this conversation, and we get thrown into the same little realm as that guy.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It throws shade on the idea.
It removes any credibility.
Yeah, your credibility's gone because you've been called a conspiracy theorist at that point.
Yeah.
So, maybe.
Yeah, and I don't even like the thought of being thought of as a conspiracy theorist, but that is.
We need to change that. We need to change what the definition of conspiracy theorist is.
Right.
Maybe that's our goal here. Maybe that's our whole goal of this podcast is let's just change the thought around.
Right.
What is a conspiracy theorist?
Yeah.
Because they're not all kooky, crazy people.
No.
They're just not.
It's just anybody who questions the grain of life is now a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, it's like if somebody disagrees with you, boom, conspiracy theorist.
Yeah. Yep.
No, man, like
why can't I just be human and like just tap into that?
Have a different opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like Republicans,
not even a different opinion,
Democrats,
just an inkling of a question of just questioning what's
one
real.
thing that I've recognized with all the people we've listened to and just throughout this week is there has been a thread that has made people believe that the moon landing was fake.
Yep.
Mine, COVID.
Okay.
You pulled that thread, and then things start to unravel for me.
Are you saying the distrust of
the government? There was some kind of something for each person where they said, "Look, this certain thing happened," and then I started to distrust the government, and then I said, "If I don't believe this, then why would I believe that we went to the moon?"
Right.
Yeah.
Some people,
if they would lie to me about this, then why wouldn't they lie to me about the moon?
Right.
And everything I've seen is that there was one little thread, and once you pulled it, you just started it all unraveled.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, COVID for me, if you can cover up some of that kind of stuff,
yeah.
And that's something we're gonna have a conversation about because, dadgum,
yeah, there's gonna be a show soon.
The entire world
yeah.
said this was the worst thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be insensitive, but there's worse things that's happened in the world than what COVID was.
Right.
And the entire world believed it. So if they can cover that up, how could they could cover this up too?
Yeah.
Yes, and that changes it for everybody. The older generation though, they're a little bit different.
They are.
They can believe they will believe that the moon landing is real, but then also think that Joe Biden isn't alive and that he's got a body double.
Yeah.
The cognitive dissonance is insane.
Because,
you know what I'm saying?
Because they were there, like you mentioned earlier. If we did it again, we would party and have fun.
Yeah.
60 years from now, we would be like, "Hey, remember that party when we went back to the moon?" So it was that situation. They seen it on the TV.
Yeah.
They seen what was his name, the newscaster talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
the lead up.
Talking about what's happening. Neil Armstrong said his famous quote, America, dude.
Yeah.
How do you forget about that?
And like, this is during a time frame too that America needed a win. They needed one. It was the 60s were bad.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Cold War going on. You had Vietnam really kicking off. You just had
Russia,
JFK getting popped.
And Russia was winning that race by a lot.
Yeah, because they had started before.
In 57, they sent a dog to the moon. Or not to the moon, but into space. And brought him back alive.
There were so many. I didn't realize. I always heard that Russia was winning the race until we went to the moon. But they were laps ahead of us. And they done just about everything
other than go to the moon.
And then we were like, we just jumped ahead and did it.
Didn't they send somebody into orbit to like orbit the Earth?
Sent groups into orbit.
Yeah.
Sent the first lady into orbit.
Yeah. I mean,
they sent two women into orbit.
They were way ahead, and then we just went.
Yeah.
And we were just like, oh yeah, we've got this aluminum,
rocket.
I
wonder if there's any documents out there why Russia didn't go. You know what I mean? Because they did the testing, they had every ability to do.
So I think there is. I didn't see the document for myself, but one of the conspiracy theory things is that it couldn't have been 84. From what I heard, in 84 there was a document signed by the other space agencies saying they wouldn't blow the whistle that we didn't go.
Yeah.
In exchange for technology.
Mm-hmm. That document probably got deleted with their VHS tapes.
Right. Got recorded over. But that's kind of to me, that's kind of one of the conspiracy theory things. It makes you go, is like, yeah, they would have had interest to say we didn't. And I think Russia especially would have been the first one to go, no.
They would have 100% had reason to be like, I'm not signing that crap.
Yeah, or say no. But on that note, them saying they wouldn't sign that crap. All right, let's think about it this way. You got a picture of some high-powered person in ladies' underwear dancing around at a party. What's more valuable, putting that out there or taking that and saying, you've got to do whatever I say for the next 20 years?
Right, a blackmail situation.
So I have a hard time with that one. Maybe they did. Maybe they did know, and the government said, come on, please don't sell. Please don't tell. If you don't, we're not going to...
I don't think that that kind of situation Russia would have backed down from, because of all that was leading up to that. Russia wouldn't have. Yeah, they would have blown the whistle. I think so. No. Yeah. So that puts me in the camp of maybe we did.
Yeah.
But there's a whole list of things that put me in the camp of maybe we didn't. So I don't know. Like that's that's the whole thing with this is I just don't know.
So confused.
It is. It's confusing.
All right. So one of the places I went to, just trying to stay impartial, was what physical evidence can I see right now to tell me that we went? Mm-hmm. Like, no, not stories, not video, conjecture, but like, what can I see? The first one was the reflectors they put on the moon so that we can measure the distance with lasers and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Which I mentioned earlier with my buddy, said that that's one of the things we did. So you can't, that Mythbusters did an episode on this whole subject, debunking every debunk, every myth, obviously that's the name of the show, but, this was one of them. They went to I think there's I don't know what you call it, a science station or something. You keep spilling coffee on yourself. You good over
there? I know,
I'm
just covered in it right now.
The science station. Let's back up. We went to the science garage out back.
So they shot a crazy high-powered laser at the moon, and it bounces back. And that's how you measure the distance of the moon, and you can use that to measure the change in the tectonic plates on the Earth and all that good stuff. So so that's there. They showed it. It happened, but did a person set that there?
That doesn't mean a human went.
Yeah, that's the story, is that the Apollo missions are the ones that put that there.
Yeah,
at the different landing sites.
And how big are these mirrors? They have to be pretty big, right?
Not really. They used
no, you just gotta have really good aim.
Yeah. Smarter Every Day on YouTube. It's one of my favorite YouTube.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, he's local, super smart guy, but he's got a really good episode on this particular subject, and they use a 3-way mirror, because if you just put a mirror up, the laser beam's going to bounce off of it, and if there's any deflection in it at all, it'll just shoot out into wherever. But if it's got 3 different angles, it's guaranteed to bounce that directly back
right.
at the source. So that's what they used, and that's what they put up there. The size of it, I'm not sure. The pictures I seen, it was hard to tell by scale. Mm-hmm. I would say maybe the size of a desk. It wasn't huge.
The size of a desk at 203,000 miles away is
hard to hit.
That's a good shot.
Yeah. So the Mythbusters thing I seen on it, they were actually just looking for some of the light to come back. They couldn't even get the whole thing to come back because it was so small.
Did you have to do it in the dark?
It was dark when they did it.
Yeah.
But they knew the coordinates of where it was on the moon, and they could make them laser point to where it needed to. You know, they wasn't like using their hands to do it. So, but that was one of the ones that's like, all right, maybe we did.
Mm-hmm.
The second one that got me was question I had, or somebody else asked me, was you should be able to see it on a telescope from here.
Yeah.
The lander sites, the stuff.
Rover.
Yeah, you should be able to see it. So I just Google searched it, moon landing site seen from the Earth, and there's plenty of pictures that show stuff. But to me, even those pictures look
a little doctored.
Not doctored, just sus. Like, so
it's like space trash up there.
Yeah, I'll show the picture on YouTube, but just us talking about it, you can see. They point to the different things. You can see that something was going on the moon. One of them was a landing crater.
Yeah.
Things that make you go, because the pictures that we've seen of them on the moon, there is no landing crater.
Yeah.
We didn't talk about that, so I'm not going to dig back into it. But then you can also see tracks where they walked.
Mm-hmm.
That one's tough for me.
Another thing that makes you go, how are you going to see footprints from Earth? I mean, they would have had to be dragging their feet.
There is some high-powered telescopes that exist.
But the pictures I'm seeing,
it doesn't look like somebody's walking on the moon
No.
with those. It looks more like tire tracks to me.
Yeah.
Which, okay, maybe it was, and that would still indicate that something was there.
Yeah.
But footprints, I don't know.
So the two explanations is, yeah, it's real. You can really see their paths where they walked from the Earth. Or they would have had to throw up a rover, a mechanical rover. To me, that's more plausible.
That makes a lot more sense to me.
Than a person. And then that's their tracks. Like, a big machine, you could probably see its tracks better than you could see a person.
So how did we haven't talked about it, but how did they get the rover there? What was that attached to?
That was another thing that makes you go, The lunar lander was no bigger than a car, but they had another car in it.
So it was with them?
Yeah, they took it.
According to what they said, yeah.
They took it.
And it's not, this thing ain't small.
No, it was a big car-looking thing the size of a big truck.
Another question I've got. How, when it's 20,000 degrees Kelvin?
At the maximum.
Well, okay.
It's just,
3,000 degrees. Whatever. It's the same thing to me. How are you keeping cool enough to live inside of this tube?
For a whole day.
For a day. It's 3,000 degrees outside. It feels like it's my air conditioner unit struggles at
90.
Where we are now.
Yeah, 90 degrees.
You're telling me that they just hooked the air conditioner up and it was like, oh man, it's a nice 72 in here.
They throw a window unit in that.
Yeah, just strapped a window unit to it and said, man, it feels great in here.
I mean, the NASA is out of Alabama. I mean, they definitely put a window unit in that thing.
Yeah, no doubt. All they did was strap some rockets to their trailer and said, let's do it.
Yep.
It was just, part of it looked like it was made about like that. But
so you're saying it would.
How do you not melt?
Seems like it would have been too hot.
Yeah.
Okay.
For a person to go through that,
or too cold. I mean,
in certain
space
parts,
is cold.
Certain parts of that would be too cold.
Yeah.
But certain parts of that are gonna be just boiling the blood inside of humans. I mean, there's no.
See, that's one of those I don't know enough about. Like, I don't know what to.
Even if somebody smart told me about it, there would still be something in me that
that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like we got so lucky. Like we just hit the mark and got through past all of that.
Yeah. 7 times.
Yeah. And how are they running it? Because if you're running what they do, strap 3 batteries together and just on the rover, just like you carrying 3 batteries and now this thing works. I mean, what's the
right? And batteries now are not light.
Well, batteries then weren't light.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
In '67, these things were huge,
made of lead.
Yeah. And the batteries just hook the batteries up. We'll drive around up here.
So they fit a car, batteries to power the car.
Yep.
In a very small spacecraft that landed on the moon.
Yep.
With no impact crater.
Nope.
With we hadn't even talked about this at all. Enough fuel to get them off of it.
Did y'all do the math on that?
Did you hear that Elon Musk they're planning 8 fuel stations?
Yeah.
For our attempt to go to the moon.
So,
but they did it on 1 tank of fuel.
Well, is he using a different fuel source?
I don't think so.
I would think ours would be more efficient.
Obviously, yeah. You wouldn't want to change from what we had because
it would go better.
So
if we did, it would be better.
I want to say it was 203,400 gallons of kerosene, and then 304,000 gallons of liquid oxygen to go 38 miles with the space shuttle.
Say what?
That's what they said.
But we made it 150,000?
So you're talking.
Well, once you get out of the orbit of the Earth.
The orbit of the Earth is 62 miles. So you got to get past that layer.
Okay.
But it took over 500 gallons of liquid to go 38.
I mean, it's probably millions of pounds you have to get up.
Yeah. I mean,
millions.
And then you've got to have enough to get off the moon.
Yep.
You got to do the. I know it's less gravity, but you got to do
coming
another
back in-
launch.
Coming back in is a little bit different. I mean, once you
That's
once
just
you
a crash
pass,
landing.
You're just
yeah,
floating,
once you pass that atmosphere, you just turn into a meteor.
Yeah, you're
so
just
I mean,
floating.
it's a little different.
Yeah.
But you've got to have enough to get yourself off the moon,
Yeah.
which I don't think is going to be an easy situation to do.
Do we want to talk about the
Oh yeah, let's talk about the old
the
toy,
video?
the old toy lunar lander exploding off.
So look up Apollo 17. I'll try to put a link on our YouTube. The Apollo 17 launch off of the moon.
Yeah, that's the worst.
Dude, it looks like a 10-year-old.
Star Wars looks better.
Yeah.
Like the way in Star Wars in the 70s they made things looks a lot better than what they did.
So for one, there's a magic camera that
Yep.
was away from it. So you got a long shot of the lander
Mhm.
controlled
from
Houston.
Earth
Yeah, controlled in Houston.
with a 7-second delay. Is that what I heard?
Or was it? It was 4, I believe.
They said more than likely that was way more than 4 seconds.
Okay.
So
it was probably closer to 12
Yeah.
from what I've heard.
So you see just to explain it, you see an explosion happen between the landing gear and the pod that the guys are
Kind
sitting
of.
in.
That's the weakest. It looks like an M80 has more of a pop than what that did.
Okay, yeah. So there's a pop.
Yeah, that's a better way to say
Yeah.
that. Look, pop.
Magic sparkle dust
Uh-huh.
expels from it.
Yep.
And I'm not exaggerating this, y'all.
Which
Look
is
at-
weird
watch it
because
yourself.
there's no air there. So where how
Yeah.
does that ignite?
Yeah.
But okay.
the lander ascends up perfectly straight up. I
Yep.
might add,
Mhm.
perfectly straight up with no rocket propulsion visible.
Which you are in a zero gravity situation there, right?
Or very little
Very
gravity.
little gravity. So
Okay.
Like any little thing you do is you have a little bit more room.
So you're saying there's a chance that there may not have been rocket exhaust.
so my brain right now is a little twisted because you see how these guys jump around on the moon, right?
We got to talk about that too.
We gotta
Dang,
talk about
this. Is gonna
that.
be a long. This is gonna be a 2-hour episode, y'all.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pee before we do that.
Which is cool.
But anyway, so this thing shoots up. It detaches. It shoots up into the air.
Yep.
Everything's good. The world is now happy because we landed on the moon.
Yeah.
Right? But you watch before that, and the way these dudes are jumping around, they're not like gaining any height
Yeah.
by doing this.
But
It
that-
looks like bunny rabbits jumping around.
Yeah, that could also just be the slight gravitational pull of the moon, just keeping them down. You know, I don't know.
Well,
I
if
don't
it
know
would-
what the
this
math
would
is
have.
on that.
This would have more mass,
Yeah.
so that should do the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So how does that work?
I wonder if there was like a special mechanical thing they had, like some like spring assisted thing, maybe to
Talking
like,
about
like a boom, like a slingshot, maybe. I don't know. They weren't using rockets; they just used something that had
There was
tension
some
on it.
kind of
They
boom.
said
There
it was rockets.
They said it was
said
rockets.
They said it was rockets.
Okay,
But it doesn't look like rockets.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm like you. I don't know what a rocket exhaust looks like in space.
like is there a flame?
But I would
they're-
imagine there would be something.
I
You know
would
what I
think
mean?
there would have to be something.
Even in
I can tell you, it doesn't look like you've hooked a toy up to wires and then pulled it into the sky. It doesn't look like that.
that's what it looked like to me.
Yeah, that's what that looked like. I'm saying a rocket exploding doesn't look like you've hooked some strings to a toy and just pulled it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, and it no exhaust and the camera. So the camera perfectly follows it,
Tracks it.
tracks it up.
Was
in
it
the
a
sky.
smooth track or was it like
Oh
a
no, it
jittery?
was it was
Perfect
the.
smooth.
I couldn't track you running any better,
Mhm.
and I'm in front of you.
And supposedly the tracking of the camera was controlled from Earth.
Yeah.
So think about the timing that would have had to happen to get that done accurately.
right.
And
In that was 72 because that was Apollo
yeah, it
17.
was the last one. Yeah.
So in 1972, with a 12-second delay on a rock or on the lunar lander that exploded off of the moon,
They would
no.
so the Earth people would have had to start moving seconds earlier. Which I mean, I guess that's possible.
It's possible, but let's think about this. So you hear 5, 12 seconds before that he said 5.
Okay.
4, 12 seconds before that he said 4.
Yeah.
So you're having to go off
Yeah.
of that, and then after you hear 1,
Yeah.
you have to then count to 12 after you've counted to 12 each one of those times
Yeah.
before that. No.
So and also too, think about this. the timing of the launch would have had to been so impeccable because that lunar lander would have had to rendezvous with the return shuttle.
Yep.
So it would have had to, like, I would imagine milliseconds, had to fire off at the exact right time to put it into lunar orbit to get it back to the return shuttle. I don't know what it's called, but
I like it. Return shuttle sounds good.
So that it would shoot up into space at just the right speed to where it meets up at just the right time. You know, and I'm sure there's controls. I mean, maybe
I'm sure that there's things that exist that make that work if it, in fact, did what it did. But I do think that we're stretching a little bit with any of that to just make my mind comprehend.
Yeah,
and I just don't. I don't want to. I don't want to completely dump on human excellence either.
No,
like, humans can be excellent. We can be mathematically like precise.
Yeah,
but you got a lot of factors in play.
Well, we could in 1969. We can't now.
Yeah, we can't now.
Yeah. So that's where I really question everything is if we had went back and we had done all these things, okay, maybe.
Yeah.
But we're not. No. And we're saying that we've lost experience and we can't do that now. So that's the dumbest thing ever. Yeah. And that's where everybody I've talked to, that's been their biggest hang up is why didn't we go back?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a big.
Everybody I talked to.
Everybody that said, no, we didn't go.
They're like, why not?
Yeah. We've got the technology to do it in our pocket.
Or not.
Because
we destroyed it all and the factory's closed, so we can't do anything about it.
See, I'm trying not to be that kook that says.
That's the thing. You've seen my change just in these conversations. I went from, okay, we probably did, to this conversation right now, and I'm like, I don't know what I believe. It's crazy.
So I started out my research with a Matt Walsh video of him about 15 minutes explaining why we did. And man, when I listened to that, I was like, oh, we 100% did. I'm not going to be convinced otherwise. 10 seconds later, I found another video that flipped me the other way.
Yeah.
Then I found another one that flipped me back the other way. Then I listened to the Joe Rogan episode that maybe we did, but the videos are good. So I flipped back the other way. Yeah, so I'm still back and forth.
If God came down and told us that we went to the moon, I'd probably still be like,
no, if God come down and told me, I'd go, okay, you're right.
See, me and a buddy of mine, we've got a little agreement. When we get to heaven, we're gonna be.
Could you tell me about this?
Yeah, all the conspiracies. We're like, see, I told you, and then he's gonna be right about some, and but I wonder if we'll know. Or if
we probably won't care at that point. At that point, we're not even.
We'll be on a
we're
different level.
We're in heaven at that point. It's like, okay, we got this one right, so we're good.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Do we want to wrap and do a part two?
We probably need to wrap. This one is.
It's a long one.
It was a good conversation, I think.
I enjoyed this.
Yeah. We may do a part two later. There's still a lot we didn't talk about. There's still a lot of evidence either way, but
if you didn't change your mind, that's fine.
That's cool.
It didn't change my mind.
Just don't get mad.
Don't get mad.
And if you do, go on our social media so we get some traffic.
I'm okay.
Throw some hate on there. Something.
I'm good with some bad press. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Speaking of, hit us up on all the social media. ShroudedRealities.com is probably the best place to go. We got links to all of it.
Yep.
Maybe have some merch up soon. Gave us a quick shout out to our foreigners. We're going international, y'all.
That's right.
International. We got people in Russia, Spain, China, Australia. Yeah, good day, Mike.
Malta.
Malta. I don't know where that's at.
I don't either. It's somewhere on the earth.
Let us know. But
could be on the moon. I don't know.
Could be Malta moon.
Yep. But we appreciate y'all listening. Let's do it again next episode.
Oh yeah.
For Ruby, the podcast dog, chilling out, and the rest of the guys. See ya.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.